Hello everyone, it's Anna, also known as That Star Wars Girl, and I just want to start off by saying in this video, everything I'm going to be talking about is my own personal opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's fine, you're entitled to your own opinion, but this is just my opinion, and it has to do with a conversation that I had with some of my coworkers a few days ago. Now, my coworkers know that I have this YouTube channel where I talk about Star Wars, and we were on the topic of because the building that I work at, it's very nice, and people have filmed like music videos or movies there in the past. So we were talking about what had been filmed there and just what filming was like. And one of my coworkers, who is a man, said that, oh, you know, Justin Bieber had filmed here, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hate Justin Bieber, and I was like, it makes me like want to leave and not be here because I know Justin Bieber has been in the same building as me. And he kind of was shocked by that. He's like, what, don't most girls like Justin Bieber? And I was like, yes, most girls do, but I personally don't. I hate Justin Bieber, and I can go on rants for hours about how much I can't stand Justin Bieber. And he just didn't understand that. He's like, what, you mean if Justin Bieber asked you on a date, you wouldn't say yes? And I was like, hell no, I wouldn't say yes. Why on earth would I ever say yes to him? He's a child. He's like, what do you mean he's a child? And I was like, well, it has nothing to do with age. He is a boy, and, you know, he's a boy. And most women that like me, that I know, don't prefer to date boys. We want to date men, and that's what we prefer to have in our life. And he was just confused, like, by that, and he was like, oh, so you mean like only men like Hugh Jackman you consider a man? And I was like, well, yes, I do consider Hugh Jackman a man, but that doesn't mean that other men that aren't like Hugh Jackman aren't considered men. And so we got on this debate, and he just kept asking me and my other female coworkers he's kind of just throwing out names and asking like if we consider them men or boys. And we're just like, no, that one's a man, that one's a man, that one's a boy, that one's a boy. And again, it has nothing to do with age. It is the way that they carry themselves and the way that we perceive them based on what we are shown by them and their actions. And based on Justin Bieber's actions, and again, I don't follow Justin Bieber because I can't stand him, but in my eyes, he is a boy and he is not a man. Maybe in a few years, or maybe probably most likely more like 10 years, he will be a man. And this is a constant conversation that us women have about, you know, boys and men, and it's just a constant thing that goes on that we women have conversations about. And then he wanted to know what the middle ground was, my male coworker. He was like, so what would you consider a guy, you know, in between a boy and a man? And it's like, well, you know, that's kind of like an iffier topic that we consider. And he started naming off actors to see if they were like in the middle, and like all of us, we couldn't think of one off the top of our heads. And then this conversation again happened throughout my entire day at work. And so next time I ran into that coworker, he was just like, what about the dude from The Amazing Spider-Man? And I was like, me and my other female coworker were like, yeah, you know, he would be the middle ground. The Andrew Garfield guy, he could be the middle ground between a boy and between a man. And I was like, still, that's not like spot on, the difference between a boy and a man. And so I was thinking on my drive home, and I was like, gosh, like, what is that middle ground? Who would be that person that is the middle ground? And then it hit me. Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker shows the complete progression from a boy to a man, and he shows us that in those 3 movies. Not only is it his journey to become a Jedi and to save the galaxy from the dark side of the Force, it is Luke's journey from, you know, being just a farm boy to becoming a Jedi Knight and a man. Now, in, you know, A New Hope, Luke, he's kind of whiny. He wants to go off on an adventure. He doesn't want to be stuck on the farm, which completely understandable. I'm pretty sure most people don't want to be stuck on a moisture farm in the deserts of Tatooine. But, you know, he wants something more, and that's a good thing to want. And again, there is nothing wrong with being a boy. You just haven't gone on that journey of life yet, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just because I can't stand Justin Bieber Again, I got my problems with that dude, but he's a boy. It's okay. If you are not in that phase of your life where you're on your journey to become a man, that's fine. You will get there eventually. It's just a process of life, and there's nothing wrong with it. So Luke Skywalker, he goes on his journey. He leaves Tatooine, not because he wants to, well, he does want to, but because he has to, because his family is murdered and he has nothing left. So he goes with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he goes on this adventure, and he's forced into situations he never thought he would be in, and he is just dragged into this war, and he does it all. He gives it his all. He goes against what was recommended. You know, he doesn't use the tracking mechanism to blow up the Death Star, and he trusts in Obi-Wan Kenobi even though he's dead, and he believes in himself, and he uses the Force, and he blows up the Death Star. And that's one step into him becoming a man, is he's learning to trust himself, and he's not as unsure of himself. And then in Return of the Jedi, he goes through the training. He's still not listening to Master Yoda. He's doing what he wants to do, and not what he should do, and not what he has to do, but what he wants to do. And he sacrifices a lot to go do that. He sacrifices his time with Yoda. He gets punished for it by the loss of his hand. He also learns about the truth between his father. And it's another growing step in him going from being a boy to a man. And then in Return of the Jedi, he is able to make that full circle from his beginnings of being a boy, a farm boy on a desert planet, to becoming a Jedi Knight and a man. And I thought about all of this when I'm driving home from work, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to work to tell my coworkers about this. And then I got to work the next day, and I was like, guys, I got it. It's Luke Skywalker. He starts off as a boy, and he makes the progression into a man. And that is the best simile that I could use. And I don't even think that was a simile. That was more of a metaphor. But anyway, my coworkers all agreed with me, and they're like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. And so that is why Luke Skywalker was able to go through that journey and become a man. And that is why Luke Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi is a man. And Justin Bieber has not gone on that journey yet. He's still in his crazy fantasies, doing whatever he wants with no consequences, and he hasn't gone on that journey. He hasn't had that hardship. He got famous as a child, and I don't understand why, but apparently people like him and like his music. But again, that's my opinion. I can't stand it. I can't stand anything about him. But he is still a boy, and he has not become a man yet. So that is the difference between a boy and a man, and that is the difference between Luke Skywalker and Justin Bieber. And I can't even believe that I had to make that comparison. But again, this was a conversation that I had with my coworkers at work, and I thought it was entertaining enough to make a video about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, that's fine. You're open to your own opinions. But yeah, so have a great rest of your day, everyone, and may the Force be with you, because we are going to need it.